Hello guys! Welcome back to my channel. It's me again, Lakwatsirong Butiki. Mula sa makasaysayang simbahan ng Malolos, Bulacan, ang Minor Basilica and Cathedral of the Immaculate Conception o kilala sa pangalang Malolos Cathedral. Nandito na ako ngayon sa makasaysayan rin na simbahan ng Guiguinto, Bulacan, ang San Ildefonso de Toledo Parish, o mas kilala sa pangalang Guiguinto Church. Halika kayo guys, itutur ko kayo dito. Magre-refuel muna ako bago tutuloy patungong Guiguinto, Bulacan. Buko muna tayo guys. San Ildefonso de Toledo Parish, commonly known as Guiguinto Church, is an 18th century Baroque church located along the MacArthur Highway, Barangay Poblacion, Guiguinto, Bulacan. The parish church, under the aegis of Saint Ildefonso, Bishop of Toledo, is under the jurisdiction of the Roman Catholic Diocese of Malolos. Guiguinto was founded by the Augustinian friars as a visita of nearby town Caroya, now Balagtas, on October 31, 1607, and placed under the advocation of Saint Ildefonso, although it has been mentioned in the records as early as 1591. On October 31, 1617, it was annexed to the parish of Bulacan. In 1621, the convent of Guiguinto was declared independent from its matrix, with Father Bernabe de Villalobos as first parish priest. However, it was again attached to the convent of Bigaa in 1633. Records tell that the convent of Guiguinto was not as affluent as its neighbors. In 1641, it was exempted from paying its dues to the San Agustin Monastery in Manila due to lack of funds. A similar incident occurred in 1669. The exact date of construction of the present parochial structure could not be identified clearly. It is assumed that the ministers of Guiguinto were only able to erect parochial structures after 1621. Moreover, records tell that the convent of Guiguinto applied for the collection of rice for the construction of a church in 1734. This leads to the estimate that construction of the present church may have started by the latter part of the 17th century, but was still unfinished by 1734. Father Buzita parish priest in 1832, built the road to Bigaa and the Catholic cemetery in 1848. The church and convent of Guiguinto sustained great damage from an earthquake in 1863. Repair works were still being conducted in 1864. Between 1955 and the early 1960s, the Church of Guiguinto was renovated under Father Carlos E. Bernardo. The remodeling, which involved the plastering of the exterior, repainting of the entire structure, and construction of a new altarpiece, reportedly cost 50,000 pesos. The facade is divided into 3 vertical sections by 4 sets of Doric columns. The columns, which is said to be added for ornamentation purposes, supports a triangular pediment adorned by an oculus and volutes on the end. Geometric motifs can also be found on the plastered side portals. Saints' niches, stained glass, and an Augustinian emblem add details to the otherwise plain facade. To the right of the church rises the 4-level octagonal bell tower, which features singular designs as the facade. One cast by Hilario Sunico in 1889 and was installed by Father Pedro Quiros, and a smaller one dating 1887. The origin of the town's name is still unclear. It is said the town got its name because there are hidden jars of gold buried in the town. Some of the elders say that during the moonlight nights, a golden ball emerges from the church and goes down to the nearby river to quench his thirst. It then returns to the church, ascends at the altar, and disappears. Also, during the old times, travel throughout Guiguinto was difficult and slowed down to cross single file over narrow bamboo bridge. So the Filipino guides would shout "Hinto," which led to the Spaniards thinking that the town's name was Hihinto. Saint Ildefonso is highly regarded in Spain and closely associated with devotion to the Blessed Virgin, which he fostered by his famous work concerning her perpetual virginity. Born around 607, Ildefonso came from a noble family and was probably a pupil of Saint Isidore of Seville. While still quite young, he entered the Benedictine monastery of Agalia near Toledo and went on to become its abbot. In that capacity, he attended the councils of Toledo in 653 and 655. In 657, the clergy and people elected this holy man to succeed his uncle, Saint Eugenius, as Archbishop of Toledo. He performed his episcopal duties with diligence and sanctity until his death in 667. This saint was a favorite subject for medieval artists, especially in connection with the legend of Our Lady's appearance to present him with a chalice. Saint Ildefonso was a prolific writer, but unfortunately, only 4 of his works have survived. Among these are the one already mentioned and an important document of the history of the Spanish Church during the first two-thirds of the 7th century, entitled Concerning Famous Men. Prayer of Saint Ildefonso. I come to thee, O Mother of God. I supplicate thee to obtain for me the pardon of my sins, and that I may be purified from all the errors of my life. I pray thee to grant me thy grace, that I may unite myself with affection to thy Son, and to thee, to thy Son as to my God, to thee as to the Mother of my God. Amen. Mula naman dito sa Guiguinto Church, tutungo naman ako doon sa makasaysayan rin na simbahan ng Balagtas, Bulacan, ang St. Lawrence, Deacon and Martyr Parish, o kilala sa pangalang Balagtas Church. Abangan nyo ako doon, guys. Bye-bye!